So it's 5:30 on Tuesday, February 28th. I can't believe tomorrow is March.
April, would you mind talking a little more into your microphone?
Is that better?
Thank you.
Perfect. Actually, why don't I turn up the volume a little bit? It's turned really low. We may need that for later. Okay, so February 28th, regularly scheduled Board of Public Works meeting. It's 5:30 p.m. and I'll jump right into it and let Kyla Cox-Deckard, President of the Board of Public Works, start the meeting.
Thank you. I call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Public Works this Tuesday, February 28th of 2023. First up, we have messages from board members. Do we have any messages from the board this evening? Next, we have petitions and remonstrances. Before we bring the first items under this category forward, I will ask that if anybody has any public comment that is not on the agenda this evening, that you go ahead and make that now. So if there's public comment on anything that is not on the agenda, now is the opportunity to make a comment. If you're on Zoom, you can use the chat or the raised hand function. And if you're in the room, you can approach the podium.
I see nothing on Zoom.
All right, seeing none, the first item is Appeal Noise Citation number 40027 for 423 East Southern Drive.
Thank you, board members. Michael Rooker, City Attorney for the City of Bloomington. Do we have the petitioner here?
We do.
Okay, thank you. I think the petitioner may be here via Zoom. At approximately 11:45 p.m. on February 4th, 2023, the Bloomington Police Department received a complaint regarding unreasonable noise at the property located at 423 East Southern Drive in Bloomington. Officer Chad Dorman, who is here with me today, responded to the call and arrived on scene at approximately 12:27 a.m. the following day, February 5th, 2023. As Officer Dorman approached the property, there were a large number of persons in the vicinity, and he could hear loud noise emanating from the property from at least 100 yards away. He's going to testify to those facts. At approximately 12:27, Officer Dorman made contact with Marisol Sanchez, who is the appellant here, and is an occupant of the property. Marisol was issued a ticket for unreasonable noise and assessed a fine of $50. The facts establish a prima facie violation of the City of Bloomington noise ordinance, which says that sound that is clearly audible to a person with normal hearing from any place other than the premises from which the source of the sound is located when the sound occurs between the hours of 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. is prima facie evidence of a violation of this chapter. And I believe Officer Dorman is going to testify to some of those facts.
Thank you.
Hi. So when we receive the call, we usually let them pin for 15, 20 minutes, more or less, per department policy. That way it gives it ample opportunity for them to turn it down themselves while us responding. When I did respond, I responded with Officer Britton also. When I turned from Henderson onto East Southern Drive, I could have my windows cracked. I could hear the music from there. Traveled approximately 100 to 150 yards away from the intersection to where the residence is. When I first arrived, there were several people outside the residence in the road and coming in and out of the doorway facing to the east to the residence. When I arrived, I made contact with a intoxicated female. Ended up finding out later on that that was the other roommate that lived there once I did speak to Miss Sanchez. Miss Sanchez, I believe, main concern is not receiving a warning. Usually with something this size, if I don't give a warning, there's probably approximately 150 to 200 people empty out of the house once we arrived. So it was quite a large party. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
And if the appellant is on the line, does the appellant want to make any comments?
I'm right here. Can you hear me?
We can.
What do you mean by comments? Like just anything?
Yeah, if you'd like to
From
just
that.
say anything about your account of that night, you're welcome to now.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so When the police officers got there, I definitely complied with every single thing that they needed, my ID, everything. But before the police officers got there, I did already like dismissed everyone from being there. That's why there was people coming in and out because I was telling people to leave. So before the police got there, I was de-escalating everything. So therefore, I do wish that it would have been a warning instead of a ticket because everybody was already gone, or well leaving, and I did comply with everything. And the female that was intoxicated that the police officer described was not my roommate.
Thank you. All right, questions from the board on this item?
Can I just confirm that BPD does not typically give warnings at the first offense, but the first offense for a noise violation is in fact this $50 fine?
Yeah, that's correct. Under the code, a first offense is a $50 fine, which is what Ms. Sanchez was cited for here. Again, depending on the circumstance, if it's not an enormous amount of noise or it's not an enormous party, an individual officer might exercise some discretion and simply ask somebody to turn the volume down on a TV or something like that, if that's the nature of the complaint. Obviously, that's not what you heard the officer describe today.
Other questions on this item? Are there any other public comments from any others?
No other comments on Zoom.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion on this item?
I move that we deny the appeal for noise citation number 40027 for 423 East Southern Drive. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up is appeal noise citation number 37913 for 437 East 16th Street.
Thank you, board members. Michael Rooker again. At approximately 4:16 p.m. on February 18th, 2023, the Bloomington Police Department received a complaint regarding unreasonable noise at the property located at 437 East 16th Street. In fact, I believe they received multiple complaints. Officer Colin Deckard responded and approached the property in his patrol vehicle from several blocks away. Officer Deckard is here and is going to testify in a minute that he could hear noise emanating from the property from as far away as Lincoln and 16th Street, as well as from 16th and Grant Street. Lincoln is approximately 2 blocks from the property. At approximately 4:49 p.m. on February 18th, Officer Deckard made contact with William Johnce, the appellant, and issued him a ticket and assessed a fine of $50 for unreasonable noise. The facts established that the noise emanating from the property was unreasonable. There was loud music being played from the property, and I believe Officer Deckard can provide some more color to those details.
Thank you.
Hello, Board. Officer Deckard, Bloomington City Police. So on, let's see here, February 18th, 2023, according to Monroe County Central Dispatch, the CAD record, they received a noise complaint for the address at 437 East 16th Street. Reference to a noise complaint at the time of 4:16 on February 18th, 2023. And additionally, they received another noise complaint a short time after that, within about 1 or 2 minutes. I arrived at the scene at around 4:37, in which traveling around, is that 16th Street and Lincoln, I could hear the noise coming from the east, which is the direction of the 437 East 16th Street. When I got closer to Grant, I could still hear the noise, in which I could pinpoint that the noise was strictly coming from 437 East 16th Street. I approached the residence, spoke to William. There was a speaker outside or in the doorway, cannot recall correctly, pointing towards the road. explained to William that we received a noise complaint. He gave me his information. While advising him I was issuing a noise complaint or a noise citation, I explained to him that the ordinance code, 1409-0303, in which another resident wanted to do her own research, and I don't remember who this female was, but continued to tell William that not to sign the ticket because that he should read the whole ordinance code, in which it became, I don't think I violated this. Told him I was going to argue with it. So on the citation, I wrote refused, and that was the end of the encounter.
For you real quick, if I might, what kind of noise could you hear?
If I remember, it was country music, Luke Combs.
Thanks.
It was country music, Luke Combs. Can't remember the actual name of the song.
Thank you. All right, if the appellant is here, now is an opportunity to make comments. And if you'll state your name, please, for us.
William Johns. Good afternoon, ladies. I'm here to appeal my noise complaint. I don't think the music was that loud. We were very conversational in front of the speaker, and there wasn't a ton of people around, so it was very easy to communicate. It was country music, so there was no profanity, no loud beats, nothing like that, nothing that would be disturbance of the peace. The third thing, the officer did mess up twice on the ticket that he wrote me. He messed up my sex and my race. The officer also explains that he heard it from Grant Street, but I had 3 separate friends walk from Grant Street to my house, and they explained that they could not hear it from there, but they only heard it when they got closer to the party. And then there was also another party going on exactly across the street from us, and he didn't know exactly what house it was coming from when he got to my place. So I don't know why they would call for my house versus the house just across the street.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
But you were playing country music from your house?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This might be for Mr. Rooker. Can you talk about any differences if noise complaints are received between the hours of 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. as in the first case, and outside of that in this case, please?
Yeah, sure. So the legal standards are slightly different. Outside of that time, it's not prima facie evidence of a noise violation simply because the noise can be heard off premises. So the standard we have, and it's in the staff report, is it's unlawful for any person to cause or make any unreasonable noise or to allow any unreasonable noise to be caused or made in or on any real or personal property occupied or controlled by that person. The code does give a little bit more meat to the term unreasonable noise. It says, for purposes of this chapter, unreasonable noise shall mean sound that is of a volume, frequency, or pattern that prevents, disrupts, injures, or endangers the health, safety, welfare, prosperity, comfort, or repose of reasonable persons of ordinary sensitivities within the city of Bloomington, given the time of day or environment in which the sound is made. Here we had 2 calls that came in to the Bloomington Police Department stating that the noise was unreasonable. You've heard the officer's testimony that he could hear the noise from as far as 2 blocks away. In my estimation, that would certainly seem to be unreasonable noise, even at 4:16 p.m.
Thanks. Other questions on this item? Any other public comment on this item? Okay. Seeing none. All right, seeing none. Is there a motion on this item?
I move that we deny the appeal noise citation number 37913 for 437 East 16th Street.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thanks. Next up, we have the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, we have approval of minutes for January 14th of 2023. We have bonding agreement with Indiana University, bonding agreement with City of Bloomington Utilities, Resolution 2023-05, declaration of surplus fleet vehicles, Resolution 2023-08, Declaration of Surplus ITS. Revised 2023 Service Agreement with Precision Concrete, Inc. to remove sidewalk trip hazards, and approval of payroll. Do we have any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda this evening? Do we have any public comment on anything within the consent agenda? Again, if you're on Zoom, you can use chat or raised hand function.
No comments on Zoom.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the consent agenda for tonight's meeting, February 28th, 2023.
Second.
All right. One note, I just want to correct myself. I read the report. It's actually the minutes from February 14th, 2023 that we're approving, just to be clear. All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Next up is new business. First, under new business is memorandum of understanding between Duke Energy and Parks and Recreation for the reliability project.
Hello, everyone. Staff recommends the approval of the memorandum of understanding with Duke Energy Incorporated for the upcoming final phase of the Duke Reliability Project. It'll connect transmission lines between the substation on 14th and Dunn to the substation on 11th and Fairview. The city has previously worked with Duke Energy to negotiate 2 prior phases. Phase 1 was completed in 2019. Phase 3 is currently underway. Phase 2 and 3 are hoped to be completed by spring of 24. The installation of transmission lines for Phase 2 will result in the loss of approximately 16 city-owned street trees. Duke Energy has agreed to compensate the city $6,443.20 for the loss of these trees. This money will be used to replant street trees in Bloomington along this line. This project will also necessitate work in the right-of-way and on trails, and this MOU additionally outlines steps Duke Energy will take to coordinate with the city, including the Board of Park Commissioners and the Board of Public Works for closures and other impacts.
Thank you. Questions on this item? Okay. Is there any public comment on this item? All right. Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the memorandum of understanding between Duke Energy and Parks and Recreation for the reliability project.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next up is change order number 9 for the 7th Street Protected Bike Lane project.
Good evening, Roy Aiton with the City of Bloomington Engineering Department. This project was awarded on May 11, 2021 to Milestone Contractors in the amount of $2,572,455. The project constructed a protected bike lane along 7th Street from the Beeline Trail to Woodlawn Avenue. There have been a total of 8 change orders preceding this one for a final authorized contract amount of $2,662,250.65. This final change order will balance the final quantities of the project and result in a deduct of $192,095.69 for a final contract amount of $2,470,154.96. And this project was funded through our Bicentennial Bond 2018 series.
Thank you. Questions on this item?
But that's a really nice way to wrap up this project financially.
I'll add that Milestone Contracting did an outstanding job on the project as well, so we were really happy with the work they'd done for us. So,
Great.
Very good. Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve change order number 9 for the 7th Street Protected Bike Lane project.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have change orders number 1 and number 2 for the 17th Street Multi-Use Path East project.
Roy Aiton again with City Engineering. This project was awarded Milestone Contractors on April 12, 2022 in the amount of $1,192,901.58. This project installed a multi-use path on the north side of 17th Street from Walnut Avenue to Grand Street. Change order number 1 this evening will add $25,453, and this was for additional work at the Red Restaurant, the corner of 17th and Walnut. Change order 2 will also add $2,054.28, and this was for some additional curb work that we'd asked the contractor to do at the intersection of 17th and Grant. Pending approval of these change orders and funding approval through the Redevelopment Commission, the final contract price will be $1,220,408.86.
Thank you. Questions on this item? All right, any public comment on this item?
No comment on Zoom.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve change orders number 1 and number 2 for the 17th Street Multi-Use Path East project.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have a contract with Bluestone Tree LLC for the Beeline Tree Clearing Project.
Roy Athan again, City Engineering. This project will remove the necessary trees along the Beeline Extension Project corridor. Bids were opened yesterday at the board's public work session, and the board received 4 bids. Bluestone Tree, $48,764.20. J.R. Ellington Tree Experts in the sum of $68,295. Monroe LLC in the sum of $53,250. And Kreider & Kreider in the amount of $192,452. With the bids that were opened, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder was Bluestone Tree Incorporated, and we ask that the board approve the contract for Bluestone Tree to remove the trees.
Thank you. Questions on this item? All right, any public comment on this item?
None on Zoom.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the contract with Bluestone Tree LLC for the Beeline Tree Clearing project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up is Resolution 2023-10, Public Need to Purchase Right-of-Way for the Adams Street Sidewalk, Kirkwood to Fountain Project.
Hi, Patrick Durgis, Engineering Department. The Adams Street Sidewalk project was programmed through Council Sidewalk and has been in design since 2021. We now have approval for funding through Council Sidewalk and also through Community Development Block Grant for $140,000. The sidewalk the project will construct sidewalk on the west side of Adams Street from Kirkwood to Fountain. The existing right-of-way along that road is not sufficient to construct the sidewalk, so we need to purchase right-of-way from 7 parcels. Those 7 parcels are detailed in Appendix A of the packet. Ask the board to support this resolution so we can proceed with the project. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions on this item?
Are we talking about large amounts of property or slivers?
It's mostly slivers. So the road and the right-of-way are not exactly parallel, so it changes slightly as you go down the road. It's in some areas 2 feet, and in other areas up to 3 feet along the length of their property. The temporary right-of-way is more extensive for grading or for driveway reconstruction, but that is only temporary and reverts back to the property owner at the end of the project. And then because we're moving the right-of-way closer to the buildings, this right-of-way process is costly because there's a consideration of damages as you get closer to someone's front door. It moves them out of They would be a legal non-conforming building with the movement of the right-of-way, but it would prevent them from future expansion, at least towards that right-of-way. So there'd be damages with that.
Any other questions? Any public comment on this item?
I see none on Zoom.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 2023-10, public need to purchase right-of-way for the Adams Street sidewalk from Kirkwood to Fountain project.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we have requests from AEG for lane and sidewalk closures.
Jason Kerr, Engineering. Here with 3 areas for AEG requesting lane closures and sidewalk closures. This is a continuation of the citywide fiber project. 3 areas that are entertained this evening is University Street, area near Tamarack Trail, which is off of Dunn, and up on Acuff Road along Kinzer. Again, looking for lane closures and sidewalk closures to let this project proceed.
Thank you. Questions on this item? Any public comment on this item?
No comment on Zoom.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the request from AEG for lane and sidewalk closures.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we have Resolution 2023-09, IU Carnival.
Center is requesting permission to close 7th Street between Indiana Avenue and North Woodlawn to host an IU Bloomington Carnival featuring large carnival rides, food trucks, live music, games, prizes for IU students and their guests to celebrate the end of the semester, but is also open to the public if they wish. And I do have the organizer here on Zoom if you have any questions.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item? We talked a little bit during the work session, just confirming the route for the closure is there along 7th Street from Indiana Avenue to North Woodlawn Avenue, and that there is no longer a rain date. So that was an adjustment.
Correct. Julie, can you confirm that, please?
Yes, that's correct. We decided to not have the rain date because it falls on Little 5,
Okay. Great. Thanks.
or around Little 5.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions? All right. Any public comment?
No comments on Zoom.
Okay. Seeing none, is there a motion on this item?
I move that we approve Resolution 2023-09 for the IU Carnival.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have staff reports and other business.
I guess that's me again, April Rosenberger, Public Works, and I have no staff reports.
All right.
Adam took care of that yesterday in his brief update.
Thank you. Next, we have approval of claims. Are there any questions on the claims? Any public comment on claims?
No comment on Zoom.
Is there a motion? I move that we approve claims tonight in the amount of $969,408.61.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And if there is nothing else, then I will call for adjournment.
Thank you.
Thanks.